Now, Hillary Clinton has claimed that her big fundraisers were helping to fund down-ballot Democrats, and therefore was completely justified, right? For example, fundraisers like with the Clooneys that cost over somewhere around $300,000 a plate to attend, a sum that even George Clooney thought was way too much. He's like, I don't like all this money in politics. But, because it's going to help down-ballot Democrats, I guess I'm okay with it. Of course, like Hillary and many other Democrats, they justify the cost by saying exactly that. Hey, it's going to help the Democrats, man. It's going to help the party. And then all this corporate money that's flowing into our coffers, well, that should just be excused. Now, of course, after that, there was a Politico report that showed that pretty much all of that was bullshit. The claim that she's raising so much money for the down-ballot Democrats wasn't true. The study from Politico showed that just 1% of the total money she raised benefited other candidates. The rest of it, 99% of that money, went to her and her campaign and the DNC. 99%. Now, basically, her joint fundraising committee, which is how she's been able to do this, is just a giant money laundering scheme, which is unfortunately legal. And, thanks to Debbie Wasserman Shultz, now can take lots and lots of corporate-backed money. Great. Now, of course, what is Bernie Sanders' response? Well, you want to fund my opponent, Debbie Wasserman Shultz, who's no doubt a beneficiary of that money and that arrangement. Well, now I'm going to help fundraise your opponent. Interesting. Now, according to The Hill, Bernie Sanders has begun fundraising for Tim Canova. Now, Canova is a Florida Democrat who's launched a primary challenge against Debbie Wasserman Shultz from the left. Awesome. In an email, Sanders campaign manager Jeff Weaver asked supporters to split a donation between his presidential campaign and the effort to elect Canova. So, oh, look at that. It's a 50-50 split. Unlike Hillary Clinton, which is a 99% to 1% split. That's totally and completely ironic, considering how Hillary Clinton, now part of the 1%. Anyway, this email said, quote, "We're doing this because it is too late for establishment politics and establishment economics. We need real change. We need U.S. senators, members of Congress, and state legislators who have the guts to take on big money interests whose greed is destroying the American middle class. Tim Canova is one of those candidates. And I hope you'll join Bernie in support of his campaign." Now, not only is Canova a progressive like Sanders, he has also benefited mostly from small contributions, raising more than $1 million since becoming a candidate in January. And that's according to FEC filings. This guy came out of nowhere and says, you know what? I don't like where Debbie Wasserman Shultz is taking this party. I'm going to primary her from the left. And we're going to see how well it does. Now, the conventional wisdom in Washington is that, oh, we can't primary our candidates from the left. I mean, nobody's going to support that. They're not going to be able to raise money because, they can't beg corporate donors for money because they're too far left for the corporations. They're not going to be able to raise any money. And here comes Tim Canova saying, you know what? I think I can take on big money. I think I can take on Debbie Wasserman Shultz, and I think I can win. And he raised $1 million. And now he's got the support of Bernie Sanders. Now, unlike Wasserman Schultz, who has the backing of Obama, Biden, and, of course, the DNC. Now, I got to mention Obama and Biden because they're actually hosting a fundraiser for Debbie Wasserman Shultz next month, so we know where they stand. Now, in an interview, I want to show you part of an interview on CNN where Bernie Sanders officially started backing Canova's campaign. Watch.
your campaign and many of your supporters have argued that Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Shultz, the chair of the Democratic National Committee, has not been neutral in her position as chair. Your campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, in particular, has been very critical. She is being challenged right now in a primary by Tim Canova. He is a law professor who opposes the Pacific trade deal that you oppose. He supports you. He's already raised $1 million. You've been calling for a revolution. In Florida, are you with Wasserman Schultz, or are you with her opponent?
Well, clearly I favor her opponent. His views are much closer to mine than Wasserman Schultz's. And let me also say this, in all due respect to the current chairperson, if elected president, she would not be reappointed to be chair of the DNC.
Damn. Bernie Sanders out there saying, you know what? If I become president, Debbie Wasserman Shultz, you can get your job back. I'm not appointing you. Awesome. And look, and it's because she's been so incredibly clearly biased towards Hillary Clinton and the establishment. Now, here's the other thing, right? It seems like Bernie Sanders is actually doing more to elect actual progressives than Hillary Clinton is. Remember, he's also supporting 3 other candidates, progressive candidates, that are running. Lucy Flores, I believe, in New York, get Zephyr Teachout, and then there's another one whose name I can't quite remember, so forgive me about that. He's supporting actual real progressives that are mounting challenges to retake Congress. And he's helping them raise money. Just mentioning them, those other 3 that I mentioned, Bernie Sanders has helped them raise enough money to fund their campaigns. And who knows, they might actually win and help bring us a more progressive Congress. Instead of saying, well, yeah, we're raising all of this corporate cash from all of these different wealthy donors, and we're trying to share it. We're going to try to share it with the down ballot Democrats, even though I'm going to take 99% of it. And in the process, by the way, hurt some of the state parties who, because of this fundraising agreement, even if they don't end up with the money, they might not be allowed to raise more according to the FEC rules. That could hurt down ballot Democrats while enriching none other than the DNC and Hillary Clinton. That's not a good arrangement. That's not a good arrangement. So Hillary Clinton cannot claim to be supporting down ballot Democrats, at least not in the same way that Bernie Sanders is. So, Bernie Sanders out there helping to elect real progressives. So if you're in Florida, especially in Florida, right? If you're in Florida and you want to elect a real progressive, I urge you, help out Tim Canova. If you haven't already, if you're in that area, man, donate. Campaign on his behalf. Get a real progressive Congress back. Because without it, Bernie Sanders, even if he wins, can't do a damn thing without a progressive Congress. So, the down ballot races are super important. And if you want to help, there are ways that you can do that.